What's up everybody? Welcome to Wealth Game Nation. My name is Vedo and I'm here to help you better understand the wealth game and become part of Wealth Game Nation. In today's video, I will share with you my full stock portfolio, each and every holding, what changes did I do to my stock portfolio since my last portfolio update, my performance for the whole year of 2023, compare my portfolio against the S&P 500 and the nasdaq 100. Spoiler alert, my portfolio has crushed the benchmarks this year and made a return of 53%. And finally, I will let you know what is my strategy for the year 2024 is going to be. Today is a special video full of interesting content. I am excited, so let's get right into it. You know the drill, no flash illusions, no empty promises, and no fancy spreadsheets nor gimmicks. As you can see, this is my brokerage account. But before we dive into the specifics, I gotta make one thing crystal clear. I may have an opinion on stock and the stock market, but this is still only an opinion and not financial advice. So don't you go investing based on my blabbering. This is all for educational and entertainment purposes only. And when it comes to investing, no matter what anybody says or does, you gotta do your own research. Back to my brokerage account. As you can see, my current stock value is around 103,000 euros. I am investing in 19 different positions. I am investing in 15 individual companies and 4 in ETFs. As you can see, the ETF portion is at around 20% and the stock portion is around 80%. If we look at the ETF portion and order it by market value, we can see that I'm investing in the semiconductor ETF, which is currently up 14% and it has a value of 5,500 euros. Next ETF is the nasdaq 100 and it has a value of around 5,200 euros. Next one is the S&P 500 healthcare sector, which is up around 3%. And it has a value of over 5,000 euros. Last but not least, I have the nasdaq next generation. This ETF is down by around 15% and the current value is around 4,200 euros. Altogether totaling in 20,000 euros and around 300 euros in gains. If we go to the stock portion of my portfolio, we can see that the highest stock in my portfolio is Nvidia with around 92% in gains and a total market value of 13,600 euros. Next one is Meta, which is up by 34% and it has a market value of around 10,500 euros. And the list goes on. I have Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, all tech companies and all up significantly. Next one is Waste Management, which is not a tech company, it's a dividend paying company and I'm up around 15% on this position. Then the list continues with tech companies such as Amazon, Salesforce, Alphabet, and I'm up in all of them. Recently, Salesforce has been a high outperformer in my portfolio. However, I do not have that much money in Salesforce. Next one in my portfolio is again not a tech company. It is Canadian Pacific. I just started a position in this company recently and I'm up by 8% at the moment. Then we continue with companies which are down in my portfolio. Airbnb is the next one, which is almost flat. Then I have Home Depot, another dividend paying company, which is down around 5%. Then there's Alibaba, which is down around 25%. This is not a surprise to anybody. Alibaba has been beaten down in the last years due to the China-US relationship. Nevertheless, it is in my portfolio and the company is currently trading very cheaply. Then we have Autodesk, which is down by 10%, another tech company. Last but not least, there's PayPal. This is my worst performing company and I'm down on this position by 27%. PayPal is trading cheap because there's a lot of competition in the payment processing space and it seems that no company has a strong moat in there. Overall, I'm up around 13,000 euros on my individual stocks with a value of around 83,000 euros. If I go back and look at the portfolio in total and scroll back down, we can see that I have around 13,500 euros in gains and a market value of around 103,000 euros. Now, what did I do to my portfolio since my last portfolio update? If we go to the securities orders, we can see that since September, when I made my last portfolio update, I have added around 1,000 euros to Amazon. And as mentioned, I have started a position in Canadian Pacific Railways. The reason why I have started a position in Canadian Pacific Kansas City Railway is because there was a merger between Canadian Pacific and Kansas City Railway, which, as you can see by this map, is connecting the railways through Canada, United States, all the way down to Mexico. Also, railway transportation is the cheapest form of transportation. I believe that this company is positioned to do very good in the future. If you look at the performance of this company, we can see that this company has not been participating in the market rally of 2023. It has a return of only 1% for the whole 2023. It also has a low dividend yield, which I like, which I have talked about in the past on my channel, but that's a totally separate topic. Next, let's look at how did my portfolio do in the year 2023 up to now, as well as let's compare my portfolio to the S&P 500 and the nasdaq 100. As you can see, this is a replica of my portfolio in Google Finance. The reason why I have to do this is because my brokerage account doesn't provide me with such functionality to compare my portfolio against the S&P 500 or the nasdaq 100. It has a very rudimentary functionality. So if we look here, as we saw previously, the portfolio balance is around 103,000 euros. Those are my 19 positions. And if we look at the last month, S&P 500, the nasdaq, and my portfolio are all around 5%. However, if we look at it on a year-to-date basis, we can see that my portfolio is up almost 55%, very similar to the nasdaq, but it's massively outperforming the SPY, which is around 25%. So this is more than double the S&P 500. The reason for this is I invest mainly in tech companies, and the tech companies have been beaten up badly in the last year, and the tech companies have had a great 2023 year. Now, let's talk about my goal for the year 2024. First things first, in the next few days, I am going to rebalance my portfolio. You saw that around 20% of my portfolio is in ETFs. I want to change that and to be around 30, maybe even 40%. You also saw that Nvidia is around 13.5% of my overall portfolio. I don't want to have more than 10% in a single company. You saw also that my portfolio has quite a lot of gains, and I want to take those gains and rebalance. Finally, I want to reduce the number of my holdings. The reason for this is that when I started investing, I did not know anything about investing. I thought that stocks are like Pokemon and I wanted to catch them all. Even though it sounds silly now, I did not realize quite well that behind every stock there is a company. If the company does well, the stock will do well. If the company does poorly, then the stock will also do poorly. That concept did not sink in for me right away. At one point, I had over 55 different holdings. But in time, while learning how to value companies, I am getting more comfortable and more confident in my investing and analyzing abilities, and therefore I don't see a reason why I should over-diversify. Warren Buffett said, "Diversification is protection against ignorance. It makes little sense if you know what you're doing." Peter Lynch, on the other hand, my favorite investor/comedian, in his 1989 book, One Up on Wall Street, coined the term diversification, meaning the more you diversify, the closer you will get to the benchmark. What is the point in that? If you want to be close to the benchmark, you just buy the benchmark and go on with your day. Here is an illustration that shows that quite well. This is a graph from Investopedia that illustrates that if you are investing in more than 20 different holdings, that is very likely that you are very well diversified and that you will be very close to the benchmark. And you can see that between 20 number of different holdings to 200 different holdings, difference in performance is very low, and the market risk applies to all of them. If you have less than 20 stocks, then there are stock-specific risks, which may lead to an outperformance of the market or an underperformance of the market, depending on various economic factors, as well as the fundamentals of that company. So there you have it. That was an unfiltered view of my stock portfolio and the performance so far. I want to reiterate once again that my goal in sharing my portfolio is not to show off or make anybody feel bad about their own investments. Instead, I hope that my transparency will shed light on the realities of investing. Whether you're just getting started or you're a seasoned investor, there's always more to learn and new opportunities to explore. Just remember, investing is a journey, not a race. Finally, I want to challenge all YouTube content creators out there to an investing competition. Most of YouTube finance content creators hide their investments like a spy concealing classified information vital to national security. I don't want to be one of them. I want to compete, I want to learn, share my knowledge, and learn from others. Unfortunately, this year I did not make 200% or 300% like those other Excel warriors that you can see in the YouTube content finance space. Maybe the reason why my returns for this year are only 54% is because I do not have great Excel skills. And maybe I should look into that as well. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. If you found this video helpful, and if you want to find out how my portfolio will change in the next few weeks, then please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know down in the comments what do you think about my portfolio composition. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next video.